Hello everyone, welcome to my review for Journey to Un'Goro preview review. And some theory crafting I've been doing for possible decks for the different classes. We're going to be reviewing Mage now. Disclaimer, this is all before we actually knew anything and got to play with any of these cards, so I might be very wrong about a lot of these things. And Mage in particular is going to be one of the most difficult classes to judge, I think. And we're going to jump right into why, and that is because of the Mage quest, which is Open the Waygate. So it's a 1 mana, well, all quests are 1 mana, and the quest is cast 6 spells that didn't start in your deck. And the reward is Time Warp. So Time Warp, other than being a song from the Rocky Horror Picture Show, is a 5 mana spell that says take an extra turn. So, taking an extra turn, pretty good. That effect was pretty broken before in other card games that we've seen like Magic, but I'm not sure the support is here for Mage. The dream with I think Open the Waygate is a very difficult quest to actually complete, right? Because not only do you have to get random spells, and there's not that many ways, or like you have to get spells that didn't start in your deck, and there's not that many ways, you also have to cast them. So that's a really slow thing to do. To actually cast all these spells, you know, like often you get spells from stuff like Babbling Books. I mean, Babbling Book is the obvious way to get this, right? Babbling Book, Kabbalist Tome, and then, you know, some of the other cards that we will see. Once you get those, actually casting them is not all that easy, because sometimes they're just really bad. And then you have to cast a bad spell, and then you have bad turns, and then you fall behind. And then you really have to have some kind of OTK wombo combo to actually win from a position where you're quite far behind because you've been going for all these random spells. So what I would have liked to have seen, if Ice Lance was still a card, we could have definitely seen some Freeze Mage-esque finish, something with like a Evolved Kobold, then you Time Warp, and then the next turn you go Frostball, Frostbolt, Ice Lance, and like Fireball, and then you've done a lot of damage. I think that's probably an OTK. It's basically a way of achieving a similar OTK without requiring Thaurissan, right? So that would have been interesting. Not something we're going to see from Mage though, with Ice Lance rotating out. Yeah, so I'm going to return to this a bit and rate it a bit later once we discuss all the Mage cards and the Mage deck here that I have. Okay, so the other Mage legendary for this set is Pyros, a 2 mana 2/2 elemental with Death Rattle. Return this to your hand as a 6/6 that costs 6. That 6/6 also has Death Rattle that returns it to your hand as a 10/10 that costs 10. So Pyros doesn't really pass the vanilla stat test for itself. In fact, none of its incarnations actually are good stats for their mana. The idea here obviously being that it is a recurring elemental to help proc your elemental requirements, and it's also just value, right? Unfortunately, Open the Waygate is for only spells, not minions, so the Death Rattle, the results, the minions you get from the Pyros and the upgraded Pyros dying are not that great. I think Pyros is going to need a very slow meta where it can attrition out opponents, and I don't think we're going to see that. So I'm going to give Pyros a 1 for viability. I don't think that card is playable right now. Maybe in the future, but I don't think it's playable now. And for flavor, I am going to give it a 5 because I really like the design of it being a phoenix. It's rising from its ashes, getting stronger every time. And that's a really interesting, that's just a really beautiful thing, I think. It's a weird thing to say about a card, but I really like that part of Pyros. And speaking of fire, we have Meteor, the one of the new spells for Mage. It is a 6 mana spell, deal 15 damage, 15, to a minion and 3 damage to adjacent ones. So this is the second Positioning Matters spell we have for Mage since kind of Cold in Classic. And Meteor is basically kill a minion and deal 3 damage to the minions adjacent to it. There is nothing that survives Meteor except things that have Divine Shield. Yeah, so Meteor is comparable to Flame Strike in a way. If their board is small, it helps you more accurately kill a big minion. But if Meteor sees play, people will position around Meteor, and then Meteor gets bad, because most of the time it's going to deal 15 damage to one and 3 damage to one, because they'll always put their biggest minion on the far left of the board. So I don't think Meteor is that great. There's definitely going to be some interesting like situations where it is good. It's one of the decent spell. Like if you get it as a random spell, it's not that bad. It's board clear, helps you slow down the game for your Waygate quest. But I don't think it's really something you want to put in your deck. So I am going to give Meteor a 2 for viability, because it's more AoE. Maybe in a very heavy AoE deck it is playable, and a 4 for flavor. Obviously, Meteor is supposedly the thing that killed the dinosaurs, and that is a very appropriate name and theme for this card, as it will kill any of the dinosaurs in the set except Tyrantus, because you can't target him. Yeah. And then next we have Primordial Glyph. It is a 2 mana spell that reads Discover a spell, reduce its cost by 2. So essentially Unstable Portal with a Discover instead of a completely random effect, because it's also reducing the spell by 2. Primordial Glyph is probably the main reason the Open the Waygate quest will be doable, and probably one of the main reasons Mage will be playable. Primordial Glyph is a really, really good card, I think. I mean, straight up 5 for viability. I think it is one of the only reasons you play Mage in the new expansion. With Flamewaker rotating out, that obviously hurts it a bit, because, I mean, if you get like Frostbolt or Flame Geyser or any other 2 mana cost spell, 2 mana or less cost spell, that's free, which combos really nice with Flamewaker, but that's not going to be a possibility in Standard anymore. But Primordial Glyph, yeah, it's a really strong card. Still, if you get cheap things, you can combo them with Antonidas later to get fireballs and just generate like a ton of value. So yeah, Primordial Glyph, very good card. One of the main reasons Mage is going to be playable, I think. The discovering a spell and reducing its mana cost is a very powerful effect. And I look forward to playing with Primordial Glyph. I'm a big fan of Discover. So yeah, for flavor, I'm going to give it a 5 as well, just because I like Discover, and it's discovering, and like at least they didn't print it as Unstable Portal. It's just add a random spell to your hand, it reduces cost by 2. I would have hated that. So yeah, this is very powerful, and definitely a card I like. Probably one of the main reasons I actually want to play Mage in the new expansion. That and Warpgate shenanigans that we'll get to. So next we have Steam Surger. Is a 4 mana 5/4 elemental. It has Battle Cry. If you played an elemental last turn, add a Flame Geyser to your hand. So let's quickly talk about Flame Geyser. Flame Geyser is a 2 mana spell that is deal 2 damage, add a 1/2 elemental to your hand. So both of these cards obviously meant to go in the elemental deck. I'm not sure the elemental deck exists for Mage. Maybe you go Pyros, Tar Creeper, Steam Surger. I just don't. So the elemental deck for Mage just doesn't really have a win condition. That's my biggest problem for it. There is not really a good way. It lacks something like Kalamos that Shaman has. It lacks even Rag. Firelord would have been a really good way to end. That has nothing to do with elemental synergy. It just is an elemental. And one of the big problems I have that we're actually low. Something I mentioned in the Druid thing is that there really aren't that many great finisher minions at the moment. And so, yeah, Steam Surger, well costed, but it's no. I don't think it's enough to push the elemental theme for Mage. So I'm going to give it a 2 for viability, because maybe there's some ways you play Flame Geysers and you do occasionally get this and generates more spells. It does help with the quest, but I think Elementals plus quest is really weird and not really a viable way to build Mage. And I'm going to give it a 4 for flavor, because I like the fact that it it seems flavorful with Flame Geyser. I like the fact that it's like it generates a spell which generates more elementals, and like I like the snowbally effect of that in that it's a more interesting way rather than just play an elemental, play an elemental, play an elemental, which we'll get to when we get to Shaman. Yeah, so Steam Surger, yeah, not that good. Molten Reflection. This is a 4 mana cost spell, choose a friendly minion, summon a copy of it. So, essentially, Clone for those that played Magic, although Clone was basically a faceless manipulator. And this is basically a 4 mana faceless manipulator. It is a spell. Obviously, a spell is relevant because sometimes you're going to get this from random effects, and when you get this from random effects, I think it's pretty decent. The biggest problem is that the random effect decks are generally not ones that actually run a lot of really strong minions. There is some possible synergy with this and Arcane Giants. I didn't manage to fit it into the deck I built, but possibly for some kind of OTK deck with Molten Reflection and Time Warp. But overall, I think Molten Reflection is probably not strong enough. The big thing is you can't copy your opponent's strong minions and then remove them like you could do with a Faceless Manipulator. So I think Faceless Manipulator has been around for long. We've never really seen it playable in Mage. So I'm going to give Molten Reflection a 1 for viability and a 2 for flavor because I don't really get what they're trying to do with it. But, I like that it is a class-specific card rather than them just printing a 4 mana Faceless Manipulator. Okay, next we have Mana Bind. It's a new Mage secret, so it costs 3 mana. It's when your opponent casts a spell, add a copy of it to your hand that costs 0. So obviously a good way of helping to achieve the quest. You get free spells, great for stuff like Antonidas and cards like that want you to play spells. Maybe even Auctioneer in a weird deck, a Mage deck. Yeah, so Mana Bind, the biggest problem I have with it is that you play around it in the same way as Counterspell, where you're going to play your weakest spell, and then you're not getting a very good spell out of Mana Bind, and you don't even stop the effect from your opponent. And sometimes even when you do get powerful spells out of Mana Bind, the time your opponent used it is always going to be better than the time you use it, because your opponent is always going to know you have the spell, and therefore play around it. So I kind of think Mana Bind is probably worse than Counterspell most of the time. I think it's just a filler card if you are trying to push the quest as fast as possible in maybe some kind of secret theme deck with stuff like Archaeologist and maybe in some kind of secret mage that wants to accomplish Open the Waygate. But I think the thing with Open the Waygate is you have to have an end game plan to win when you take your extra turn, and I don't think a secret mage deck has that end game plan. So yeah. Mana Bind, I'm going to give it a 2 for viability and a 2 for flavor, because I would have liked them to find a different way to make it, make you play around it, to make it more interesting. Like, Hunter Secrets have a lot of different ways that you have to play into them. Then we have Flame Geyser, card we briefly spoke about. 2 mana, 2 damage. That's not really what we want to do in Mage. We already have Frostbolt, which is just better. The big difference with Flame Geyser is that it gives you a 1/2 elemental. I don't think the elemental deck is viable for Mage, so I'm gonna give this a 2. Sometimes you discover it and it's pretty good from like Primordial Glyph because it will be free, and sometimes you get it from random effects and then you play it. So we're gonna see Flame Geysers, but I don't think we're gonna see people put them in their decks. So yeah, Flame Geyser is going to get a 1 for viability from me actually, and a 2 for flavor. I like the idea of a spell putting like a minion in your deck, and I like this whole putting cheap elementals to help it, the elemental theme. But yeah, I don't really like Flame Geyser in particular that much. Next we have Archaeologist. It's a 2 mana 2/3 battle cry. Draw a secret from your deck. So this is like Mad Scientist that puts the secret in your hand, right? If Freeze Mage was still a thing, we could have seen this with Freeze Mage to specifically draw your secrets. It's just more card draw. It's card draw that helps you not die. It's a little bit better on stats. I think the idea here is that this is going to be played in some kind of secret mage, Possibly some kind of Kazakus based mage, if that's still going to be a thing. We could see it for fetching Ice Block to, keep you alive. But without Reno to heal back up from 1 when they pop your Ice Block, I'm not sure what that deck is going to do. So, we might see Kazakus Mage playable, but I think it's a bit iffy. So Archaeologist is, I think, a 3 for viability simply because I think the effect is very powerful. I just don't see the deck that it goes into. But that might be short-sightedness on my behalf, to be honest. I mean, I think the card is good. I just don't think the card has the right support to be good at the moment. And I'm going to give it a 3 for flavor, or 4 for flavor. I think it's good that it's a class card that helps you do the secret archetype for mage, and it's obviously more interesting than Mad Scientist because it isn't just ridiculous tempo like that. So yeah, I like Archaeologist. Unfortunately, I just don't see it being playable at the moment. And lastly for mage we have Shimmering Tempest. So it's a 2-mana 2/1 elemental with Death Rattle and a random mage spell to your hand. So basically, Babbling Book effect on Death Rattle, and it's a 2-mana 2/1. So I think this is a card to help you open the Waygate. Once again, I don't really see any reason to play elementals for mage, so I don't think the elemental tag is all that relevant. Yeah, it's just a way to curve out. So you go Babbling Book, Shimmering Tempest, and now you've got 2 spells that didn't start in your deck that will help contribute to open the Waygate. So I think it's a filler card for that deck. I don't think it's a very good card. It's like a weaker loot hoarder, basically, except that it helps you complete the quest. But like random spells, yeah, usually worse than spells in your deck. I mean, obviously you can get things like Polymorphs and Fireballs and Flame Strikes and that are pretty good. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'd rather play Primordial Glyph most of the time, and because that actually reduces the cost. So you get a 5-mana Flame Strike, a 4-mana Meteor, a 2-mana Fireball. Those are very good things. Like, at those mana costs, they are huge. But Shimmering Tempest, just gives you the base mana cost. I think the flavor is a bit boring. It's basically just a Death Rattle version of Babbling Book. So yeah. I'm going to give it 2 for flavor and 3 for viability because I don't think it's a good card. Unlike Archaeologist, I don't think it's a good card. I just think that it might be necessary to open the Waygate. And to that point, we are going to now look at my Open the Waygate deck. So the idea of this deck is basically play as a control mage, control the board. You've got the Frost Nova Doomsayer combo that we've seen in like Freeze Mage and stuff to just stall out the game. Stall. You cast a lot of spells in this time. You use Cabal Couriers, Babbling Books, Shimmering Tempests, Primordial Glyphs, and yeah, to generate random spells. And then you also have Burgly Bully, which generates coins, which also count because they didn't start in your deck. The coin that you get from going second won't count because that kind of counts as starting your deck apparently, whereas coins you get from Burgly Bully will count. The reason I'm only running 1 Burgly Bully is because this is a deck that's usually not on board, so Burgly Bully is very often going to be able to be just traded into with minions, which actually just might not make it playable in this deck. But in the scenarios where they do use spells and you draw coins from it, that is a really easy way to get to opening the Waygate. Coin is the best spell that didn't start in your deck that you can cast because it's a 0 mana cost spell. One of the things this deck is kind of missing is Antonidas, because obviously Fireballs you can get from that I think would count towards Open the Waygate. And obviously Bully giving you coins for Antonidas Fireballs could be a thing. I think if we saw an Open the Waygate deck that was a tempo oriented deck, we would probably see Antonidas as like a semi-finisher in that deck. But this deck instead is going for the game plan of get your Time Warp and then play 2 Arcane Giants, Time Warp, play Alexstrasza on them on your second turn and attack with your Arcane Giants. Because the big thing is that in that second turn, any minions you played in the first turn can attack. So it's kind of like giving haste to your minions in a way. And we can abuse this by having these Arcane Giants, which are naturally basically free, because you've played, Open the Waygate counts for a spell. You've played so many spells that Arcane Giants are essentially free, like almost 100% of the time, and you've got 5 mana to spare in the turn you open the Waygate, because that's not happening before turn 10 anyway. I mean, the earliest this deck could ever win is if it opened the Waygate on 8 and then played both Arcane Giants, and then, or if it time warped on 8, played both Arcane Giants, and then Alex Strazed on 9, and you can kill them. Biggest problem with this deck is, well, Taunt stops it. So sometimes you might have to polymorph in the same turn you play your Arcane Giants, then you need at least 9 mana. I think we could definitely see this deck playing 2 polymorphs instead of a Burglar Bully as well. At the moment I only have 1 polymorph in, and then double Ice Block. This deck is just a combo deck, right? So those extra few turns you can buy make a huge difference. Ice Barrier, pretty much the same vibe. Arcane Intellect just to draw into your stuff that can help you generate the spells. Primordial Glyph is pretty big. There's weird scenarios where you have Primordial Glyph that draws you cheap burn, and you might actually be able to burn your opponent after Alex Strazering them. So let's say you get, I don't know, 2 Fireballs or 2 Frostbolts or something, then you can possibly play Alex Straza and cast your cheap burn plus your Frostbolts that were naturally in your deck. But I think that's going to be very difficult, because most of the time I think you're going to use your Frostbolts and Fireballs as removal to make sure you don't die. And I think not dying is going to be a big problem in this deck. One of the cards that's missing maybe could be in here is a Volcanic Potion. If the meta is very aggro, then we're probably going to cut Flame Strikes for Volcanic Potions. This is definitely a deck that's you're going to have to see what the meta is like, and this is a very difficult deck to sort of theory craft before actually knowing what it's going to be going up against. The big important part here is that we're going for that Open the Waygate combo. We have to play the cards that help generate us cards that didn't start in our deck. The biggest one we're missing here is Cabalist's Tome, just because I think that card is too slow for this deck. Even though this deck is very slow, I feel like this deck has to spend every turn almost reacting, and Cabalist's Tome does nothing reactionary at all. Whereas hopefully with the other cards you generate the cards early, and then you can use those random spells you get in some sort of reactionary manner. So yeah, I mean, Cabalist, like, we could definitely see like a tempo deck that has Cabalist's Tome in the late game to generate value, Antonidas as another value card, and then you can open the Waygate like, I don't know, after playing Antonidas. And so you play Antonidas, you generate a bunch of Fireballs, and you open the Waygate, and then you can play 3 Fireballs. I mean, that's all you really get, right? Because you open the Waygate, is 5 mana, or the Time Warp is 5 mana, so you can play Fireball, and then the next turn you have Fireball, Fireball, Ping. So that's 19 damage. That's not really that much, but it might be enough for like a tempo mage kind of deck to finish. Archaeologists, and that's the kind of deck that might run, Archaeologists and Mana Bind and those kind of cards to generate value. Yeah, so I don't know, we're gonna have to see. I think Primordial Glyph is the big card to watch out for in Mage. I think that's really strong and might be the driving force the driving force behind any like viable Mage decks. Okay, so that's all for Mage. Yeah, please subscribe, like, do all those things that help us grow the channel, and let me know if there's any Mage cards you think I'm sleepy on, or if you have some other super wombo combo that you can play with Time Warp that I have missed, that maybe makes it oppressive, as Blizzard always seem to think combo decks are. Cool. Cheers.